Today I will be discussing learner-centered assessment and how to use the Plan, Do, Study, Act, or PDSA process to refine this assessment. I chose to use a mind map as a form of self-assessment for my learner-centered assessment. A learner-centered assessment is an assessment where students are the center. They are no longer answering multiple choice questions and standard extended responses. Instead, the students can show their knowledge in other ways, such as self assessment, portfolios, student led conferences, and performance based assessments. According to the article Exploring Learner Centered Assessment, a cross disciplinary approach, the learner centered approach begins with a central question that creates a need for certain knowledge and activities, and learning is the result of students' attempts to respond to that question. Jonathan states it is important that the project or problem requirements are clearly communicated so the learners understand what will be required of them. The book, Learner Centered Teaching: 5 Key Changes to Practice, further explains that through learner centered teaching, evaluation is used to provide a balance between generating grades and promoting learning. When creating my mind map assessment, I first used the plan phase of the PDSA process. During this phase, it was important to identify the objectives and criteria for the mind map and determine details about my pilot group and the process of data collection and its use. The objectives were to assess the students' understanding of area and volume and evaluate their ability to make real-world connections to these concepts. The criterion for the project was that the students needed to show the following: understanding of area by connecting it to formulas, purpose, examples, and correct units; understanding of volume by connecting it to formulas, purpose, examples, and correct units; and then the real world connections for both area and volume correctly. My who, what, where, and when of the assessment was that my pilot group will be my first period co-taught 6th grade math class. The activity will be completed during class time and then followed by a student-led conference where we discuss their mind map together. This will allow me to collect the data needed about their acquired knowledge and use it to clear up any misconceptions and help the students extend their learning beyond the assessment. In addition, I can use this information to adjust my lessons and provide needed interventions or enrichment. The next phase of the process was the do phase. During this time, I created the assessment. While creating the assessment, I had to keep in mind what my learning objectives were. What did I really want them to be able to do? I thought through the directions and tried to ensure that they were clear and concise so the students would understand what they needed to do. I wanted to eliminate the possibility that they would perform poorly because of confusion in the directions. Initially, I just had the students submitting the Kaggle. After thinking through that process, I decided that it would be beneficial to have the student-led conference so the students could talk it out and include anything they may have forgotten in their Kaggle. This slide shows the directions that the students were given. Use the Kaggle website to create your mind map and sign in with Google. Geometry should be your center topic, and from there, create branches of area and volume. After that, expand your branches to include all the information you know about area, how to calculate it, what it means, provide an example, and show your answer with the correct unit. Do the same for the volume branch. If you aren't sure if you should include something, do it. More is better. Include a branch that reflects how you feel about geometry, area, and volume, and how you would rate your level of understanding using our class system. Share the Kaggle with Ms. Phelps and me when you are finished, and be prepared to meet with us to talk through your mind map. Remember, now is a time to show what you know, so show us everything. The study phase came next. This involves creating the data collection and intervention piece. During the student-led conferences, we can assess whether the students showed understanding and mastery of area and volume. We can use the checklist to mark whether the students had the necessary knowledge. By questioning and watching the video, or the Kaggle, we will be able to see if the targeted objectives were achieved. If students do not meet the targeted objectives, we can work with the students in small groups to review and reteach the concepts and have them resubmit the Kaggle after further instruction. During the ACT phase, I looked at what would cause revisions in the student-led assessment. I actually followed the directions that I gave the students, completed the task, and made adjustments to the directions if I felt they were not clear. When thinking about future revisions, I would revise the assessment if students had difficulty showing their knowledge using the Kaggle site. I would also revise it if I found that it was not meeting the intended objectives and assessing the students' understanding of area and volume and evaluating their ability to make real-world connections to this concept. Using the Plan, Do, Study, Act system to create a student-centered assessment was extremely productive. It allowed me to ensure that I was creating an assessment that would enable students to take control of the assessment process. It also helped me to make sure that I looked at all aspects of the assessment to help me meet my intended objectives.